Hi, this is Tim Grant with Shunra Software. Today I'm going to talk to you about NetworkCatcher 6.0 server installation. First I'll talk to you about machine and network prerequisites, then I'll take you through a step-by-step guide of how to install it, and then I'll actually log in for the first time and show you how to set the default password. The machine prerequisites are pretty straightforward. You need a Windows Server machine, 64-bit, 2008 is preferable, the 40 gigs of available disk space, 4 gigs of RAM. You need to have Internet Information Server running on this box. Also, you need administrator rights. If you have a Windows firewall enabled, then please open these ports. It's a good idea to have those open inbound and outbound. For network firewalls, you need to open up remote ports 80, 443, 1801, 8000, and 8001, especially between the remote agents and the NetworkCatcher server. You need to also be sure to allow for the monitoring traffic that you want to measure between the NetworkCatcher server or agents and their respective endpoints. The mail server is optional. You can choose to let NetworkCatcher notify you of important activity, including user account resets and those kind of things via email. You can choose to bypass that step when we get to it, but you need to have this information ready. NetworkCatcher's general layout is pretty straightforward. It allows you to connect to the NetworkCatcher server via your web browser, and the NetworkCatcher server can be made available across the internet or just internally. It depends on how you want to use NetworkCatcher server and how you set up the firewalls. NetworkCatcher also communicates to the NetworkCatcher agents, remote agents, which are optional. NetworkCatcher agent can measure out from each of those locations to third-party locations. NetworkCatcher agents are required to measure bandwidth bidirectionally. So if you want to measure bandwidth between this server and this remote office, you would have to have a NetworkCatcher server installed here and a NetworkCatcher agent installed there, and then it would do a bidirectional bandwidth measurement. First things first, download the NetworkCatcher installer, put it on in a temporary folder, and double-click the server folder, and then double-click the setup icon, and then click continue into the installation. NetworkCatcher installer will check for prerequisites first and install those. There are several things like .NET, Visual C++, and MSMQ are Windows, Microsoft Windows critical things that NetworkCatcher server needs to run. Click install, and you'll see various screens similar to most installations. The NetworkCatcher server will require a reboot occasionally, depending on what prerequisites need to be installed, so just go ahead and allow that to happen as you're doing an installation. Then it's going to ask you for some user account control. You will want to go through and authorize these, so you just kind of keep hitting next and until you get to this point. Now you'll see that the server information, this is asking for the this NetworkCatcher address or port. For this, you will want to put the IP address of this machine or the fully qualified domain name. It's going to start off by giving you the host name. If it's strictly going to be used internally and the host names are propagated in DNS, then you can just leave it like this. But you may want to put like the server name, then the webdomain.com, so forth. Listing the fully qualified domain name. Click Next. Now you'll have to either list the machine name and a user that has administrator account privileges on this machine and the password. If you don't know this information, you can hit Browse to the various screens. It'll take you and show you a list of options for usernames, or if you want to register a domain / username, you can do it in this format. This is the optional webmail server that you can have NetworkCatcher use to send email reset information and those kind of administrative functions. If you want to do it, you go ahead and click Configure, add in the information. This is some sample information for the setup that I've got here at Shunra, and then just continue on. Set the administrator password for MySQL. We recommend that you go ahead and set that to be something that you'll recognize. Like in my example, I'm going to set it for NetworkCatcher 6.0. The other thing is you may want to enable the TCP/IP networking for MySQL, so that if you're going to do any data mining of the MySQL database, or if you think you might, you probably want to go ahead and enable this on this machine. Go ahead and click Next. Click Complete. And now you're going to go ahead and install the NetworkCatcher 6.0 server elements. It'll take you through various screens and progress through the installation. Finally, it's going to come back to WinPCAP. It's going to ask you to install this. WinPCAP is necessary to on the default agent. So just to let you know, NetworkCatcherServer, the machine that you're installing the server on, installs a default NetworkCatcher agent to allow it to do measurements from that machine as well. So WinPCAP just simply collects the network details and timings that is necessary for us to show you the timings to and from and everything. Now keep in mind, we're not doing promiscuous type mode. We're only just monitoring the traffic and timings of the NetworkCatcher process. We'll select Finish, and now we're ready to log into the NetworkCatcher UI for the first time. So simply from a browser, you can put in the IP address and the /network_catcher. So if you're going to use your host, as long as it can communicate over the network to the NetworkCatcher server, you can use this format. So if you just have the machine name and you're on the local LAN and you want to connect to it, you could use this example. If it's an IP address that's accessible from your location, you could do it this way, or you could use a fully qualified domain name /network_catcher. Allow Silverlight to install. If Silverlight is like Microsoft's answer to Flash, if you're not familiar with it, just go ahead and click Install. What it will do is install a Silverlight plugin into your Internet Explorer browser. The default password is administrator, username is administrator, and password is administrator. Click Login. Set the administrator password. Pretty straightforward. In the top right, you'll see admin and admin off for the first time. Up where my name is located. Just click on that and you can change the name to your name and email address and information, and then just change the password. Old password will be administrator and new password is going to be whatever you've set it to. And then click OK. So the password has been changed, click OK there, and now you're ready to go. So that's installing the NetworkCatcher server. If you have any questions, please contact your sales representative. Please also feel free to contact me, tim.grant@shunner.com, with any questions or any feedback on this video or NetworkCatcher server. Thank you.